Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 1820 Daniel Drive here in Newburgh. On the right side of the home, going through a 3-inch ABS cleanout. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We currently have water running. Here we go. Alright, here at 62 feet we've reached the main lateral connection. We're going to let the line drain out here a couple minutes before reeling back in. All right, I would contact and find out, or at least the city, to find out if this connection here is code. What concerns me about a T connection like this is flow is not being directed any particular direction. So what typically happens here is stuff comes shooting through that pipe, it hits the sidewall of the main, and it shoots debris and water both directions. It doesn't just go down line because there's nothing directing it to do that. So you're going to have debris and water flowing towards the house as well as away from it. And then generally when I see that type of setup, I see a lot of debris build up in the line because nothing's being directed the way it's supposed to go. But at this point here, we still have from, I think it was about 36 feet, we'll push back out here for a second. We still have a fair amount of gravel in the pipe. I'm trying to get to right where this water starts at here. It looks like for the most part it's starting about at that tie-in there. We got a little bit right here at the transition point. And then it kind of dissipates out here for a moment. And then kind of comes back right about where that T comes in. At this point here, sitting in this portion of the line, the water level is just barely below the camera lens. Camera lens sits about a 1/4 inch off the bottom of the pipe. But anyway, from here at about 33, 34 feet to this point here, you can see we've got gravel in the line and a bunch of other stuff. So I would recommend getting that removed from the pipe. Because to a certain extent, that stuff is still going to be damming the line up. We could have even less water than it looked like before if all this junk gets removed from the pipe. It can essentially dam the line up and displace water, make it look more significant than it actually is. But for the most part, this time around, we are seeing less water than we did on the first scope. That is for dang sure. The gravel still needs to be removed from the line, and then I would highly recommend looking into that T connection at 27 or 28 feet to find out if that's code. That's often how main laterals are set up with a T connection, but typically I've done about 15,000 sewer scopes where whenever you have a T connection without a directional turn on it, you're just allowing stuff to flow both directions rather than down line towards the main. Which can create, and then what you end up with is a line that is entirely dependent upon one house to remove the debris for both lines. That stuff comes into the pipe right here. If it stops and builds up, which I'm fairly certain it will, as there's not a directional turn here, then you're relying on this house here to flow and push all the neighbor stuff out of the line. It's not an ideal setup there at all. But yeah, at this point, with some of that debris being removed, there's still a fair amount in there. There's less than there was before. But there's still plenty of gravel in there that needs to be removed from the line. I think if all of that gets removed, we're going to have a depth of water there that's fairly minimal. But you still also have the issue of that T connection. And I don't know if that's code here in Newburgh. You'll have to look into that. Regardless of whether it's code or not, I'm going on experience here, and T connections are not good for flow. And I know this belly here got corrected right off the bat. So we don't have an inch and a half of standing water here anymore. This right here is now at a 1/4 inch or less. It's just sitting right below the camera lens here, that water level.
Well, I gotta run and meet.
Hey, we're going to go ahead and reel the camera out of the line. Made some big improvements there with that first belly. Still have a little water, but it's very insignificant. Typically, it's not something I would recommend repairing until you have at least 5 feet of pipe with around 3/4 to 1 inch of water is where I typically start to see toilet paper collect. So the only thing that's going to stop up there are big wads of paper towels and stuff like that shouldn't go down the line. If they stop at all. The important thing here is to get the gravel removed from the pipe and then check into that T connection, make sure that is code.